Elizabeth Bathory, the Bloody Countess. In the heart of 17th century Hungary, a name whispered with dread still echoes through the halls of forgotten castles. Elizabeth Bathory. A noblewoman, a beauty, an intellectual, and according to legend, the most prolific female serial killer in history. But was she truly the Blood Countess, or the victim of a ruthless political plot? Born in 1560 into one of the most powerful aristocratic families of Hungary, Elizabeth grew up surrounded by opulence and darkness. Her lineage was riddled with stories of madness, cruelty, and even alleged involvement in witchcraft. From an early age, she witnessed both the grandeur of power and the horrors that often accompanied it. Her education was exceptional. She was fluent in Latin, German, Hungarian, and Greek, and was known to have a keen mind for politics and science. At just 15, she married Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a fierce warrior known as the Black Knight of Hungary. Their union wasn't just matrimonial, it was a merger of vast wealth and political power. Elizabeth managed multiple estates while her husband was off at war, proving herself an astute and commanding figure in society. She was deeply involved in estate administration, local disputes, legal matters, and the management of servants and peasants. She soon took residence in the ominous Sighet Castle, a fortress that would later become infamous for unspeakable horrors. Here, Elizabeth ruled not just with authority, but with an iron grip. Over time, whispers began to spread. Young peasant girls, brought into the castle as servants, began to vanish without a trace. According to chilling accounts, Elizabeth believed the blood of virgins held the secret to eternal youth. One day, after striking the servant, a drop of blood landed on her skin. Convinced it made her look younger, her obsession spiraled into madness. Witness testimonies later described horrific tortures: girls forced into ice baths in winter, mutilated with needles, or starved and beaten for days. Some claimed she bathed in blood. Others said she drank it. There were even stories of molten wax being poured on the victim's skin, red-hot tongs used to tear flesh, and lips sewn shut as punishment. Whether true or exaggerated, the tales were enough to chill the spine of a. Noble families soon began asking questions. Their daughters, sent to the castle for education and refinement, never returned. As rumors intensified, King Matthias II launched a full investigation. Soldiers stormed Sighet Castle and reportedly found mutilated bodies, dying girls, and secret chambers designed for torture. Hidden dungeons beneath the castle held blood-stained instruments, iron cages, and disturbing records. There were ledgers, some said, documenting every name, date, and detail over 600 victims allegedly listed in Elizabeth's own handwriting. The evidence seemed damning, yet Elizabeth was never put on trial. Instead, she was quietly confined to a windowless cell within her castle. For 4 long years, she was left to rot in darkness, surviving only through a small slit in the door where food was passed. According to the guards, she slowly slipped into madness. She died in 1614, her final days shrouded in silence and isolation. Her burial site remains unknown, her tomb lost to time, perhaps purposefully hidden by those who wished to forget or those who still feared her. But was it all true? Some historians argue she was framed her enemies, envious of her wealth and influence. The political climate was ripe for betrayal. The Habsburg monarchy, heavily in debt to Elizabeth, may have seen her downfall as a way to avoid repayment. The only written evidence of her crimes came decades later, from biased sources and coerced testimonies. Her supposed confession? It came not from her own mouth, but through the tortured words of others. Elizabeth's legend, however, only grew. Her tale has inspired horror films, novels, and vampire lore across the globe. Some even claim her story shaped the myth of Count Dracula himself. The idea of a noblewoman bathing in blood, whether myth or reality, captivated imaginations for centuries. To many, she became the archetype of the seductive, bloodthirsty female villain. Her life is often portrayed in Gothic art, horror cinema, and even black metal music. And let's not forget the diaries. Allegedly, Elizabeth kept records, names, dates, details of over 600 victims. Whether authentic or forged, such claims added fuel to an already terrifying fire. These chilling accounts transformed her from a tragic figure into a timeless monster. Her story crossed into the supernatural, inspiring countless depictions of vampirism and eternal damnation. Yet the story remains complex. Elizabeth Bathory was a highly educated woman in a world dominated by men. She managed vast estates, led military defenses in her husband's absence, and held influence that rivaled kings. Could she have simply been too powerful, too independent? Her intellectualism, wealth, and authority may have threatened those in power, especially men who sought to control her lands and legacy. Other factors also contributed to her legend. The Church's fear of pagan or occult influence, folklore surrounding female power, and the socio-political dynamics of noble families all added to the construction of the Blood Countess narrative. In some interpretations, Elizabeth's character serves as a warning against female ambition and autonomy in a patriarchal society. To this day, the truth remains buried beneath layers of legend, propaganda, and fear. Was Elizabeth Bathory a sadistic killer, consumed by a lust for blood? Or was she a victim of political machinations, condemned not by guilt but by envy? One thing is certain, her legacy endures. The Bloody Countess still haunts our collective memory, a symbol of both historical horror and unresolved mystery. Her story forces us to ask, where does truth end and myth begin? So what do you believe? Was Elizabeth Bathory truly the most vicious woman in history? Or was she a ghost created by the fears and ambitions of those who sought to erase her?